All right, everyone, I am taking credit for another correct prediction. An epic win here with Marilyn Manson now being vindicated, at least on one of the charges against him. Ashley Smithline has recanted her testimony against Brian Warner, Marilyn Manson. She had complained about, basically I felt uncomfortable after we had sex. He coerced me. He's a groomer. I pointed out that in one of the cases of supposed grooming, it involves someone who was literally 18 at the time. That moniker is usually only applied when it's a minor, when it's someone, who's underage. They kept the label teenager and groomer in the legacy media hit pieces against him, despite the fact that the teenager was an adult at the time. You can find it creepy if you want to, but it's certainly not illegal, and it's not grooming. Now, this is very interesting. Number one, I've got several extra links in the description because 2 fucking years ago, almost to the day actually, it was February 2nd of 2021, I pointed out that this was bullshit, these original claims against him, that I didn't believe them, that I felt that he would probably be Depp-style vindicated, and that there was dovetailing going on. Indeed, that is what happened. Ashley Smithline is now claiming that Evan Rachel Wood coerced her testimony, influenced her, convinced her to lie, and she uses that term explicitly. She's coming out recanting, apologizing, saying, no, actually none of this ever happened. He made me feel uncomfortable, and then I decided to lash out at him because I was encouraged to do so by this other individual who sued him in the first place. So there you go. Cut and dry, in black and white. All of the additional cases against Manson at this point can be considered dovetailing. What happens, and I pointed this out too. I made a video about this a couple of weeks ago. Again, link in the description. It's the second video there. What happens is that you get one person claiming person A did X, Y, and Z. And they're in a weak moment. They start getting dogpiled immediately by the Metoo clout chasers. So in Manson's case, for instance, he was dropped by his record label. He was dropped by a TV show he was part of. He is getting lambasted. He's having to shell out money to fight this initial legal case. Other people that simply don't like that individual have taken advantage of the Me Too thing to dovetail their own grievances, make salacious claims, and in some cases are encouraged to do so by those original claimants as part of effectively a jihad attack on that person's character. Once they've been dropped from their label, from their TV show, etc., so their income is drying up, it becomes harder for them to fight. We've also seen this dovetailed with outright censorship. I'm surprised that no attempt has been made to kick him off social media where he can interact with fans and say, hey, I need your help here. Please pray for me, or, worship, some other entity for me. I'm surprised that hasn't happened. It's happened before. Generally only when the person's politicized. Marilyn Manson, of course, is not known to be particularly far-right and tradcon. I think that's obvious. Although I will note that they are trying to claim he's a Nazi. Some of these people saying, well, yeah, he's got like a secret room in his house. It's full of Nazi shit. He's constantly seek-heiling. And I pointed out the hypocrisy because there aren't many other content creators with a significant voice that bothered to defend Manson. Plenty of people that defended Cosby, even at his darkest hour when there were 40 fucking dovetailed claimants, which Razorfist did a good job explaining. People defended Depp, although that is slightly apples to oranges. It's a domestic violence case, and him being coked up and crazy case, not a case of rape. Although I would note some of the claims against Manson have nothing to do with non-consent. They have to do with retroactively feeling bad, like, oh, well, he was pushy about it. He's into hardcore fetishism. Well, yeah, I mean, he's Marilyn Manson. Fucking, are you surprised? You went to Marilyn Manson's dressing room alone with him, and he proceeded to want to drink your blood. You were later surprised to find out that he was into such a thing. I mean, come on, you're kind of getting what you pay for when you're dealing with someone who's a coked-up rock star, which Manson is. He does have substance abuse issues. It doesn't mean he's a rapist. A new tale against him has a chick claiming that she was underage when she banged Manson. Again, though, the allegation alone is meaningless to me. And again, the allegation dates to the 90s. The only way in which it's relevant to these other cases is that it seems like dovetailing. Like, hey, he's already being dogpiled by 4 other chicks. Why don't I jump in on the gravy train? And maybe he settles out of court and then for a hefty sum, and I get money. And I get a little bit of attention in the process. By the way, if Ashley Smithline joined the Me Too party and initially refused to recant, said she stated objectively that Manson did X, Y, and Z. Why is she not being held legally culpable for lying? How is it that somebody can openly and explicitly and then later on self-professedly defame someone who can prove damages in these cases, by the way, and they never seem to face any comeuppance for it? I predict that this is not the first domino to fall with regards to the war against Marilyn Manson. Again, I must note a startling lack of care for the situation. People that they make all sorts of videos about Metoo has gone too far, Metoo is unduly targeting this person, and I don't believe they did something wrong. Because of the way Manson dresses and is perceived by the masses, a lot of people refuse to defend him. They didn't want to lump in with the devil worshipper who removed his lower ribs to suck his own penis and all of these other claims that have been made about him since the Columbine period that I talked about in my first video. The motherfucker's been dealing with this shit for his entire career. It's just gotten to another level. Imagine, you're in the midst of a reasonable career revival. You're doing one-off cover songs that are being widely praised, like Cry Little Sister, God's Gonna Cut You Down. He's been doing this especially through YouTube. You're expecting more albums. They're not selling as well as they used to, but you can still pull in easily 500,000 sales on a pile of shit that you make. A goddamn demo tape all of a sudden sells 250,000 copies because you have a relatively well-known name within the rock circuit. You're on a TV show now, and it's more than a cameo role. You're branching out all over the place. You're going through a career revival, and all of a sudden all of that is robbed from you. Sort of like with Johnny Depp now, isn't it? It's interesting that the two of them are supposedly fairly friendly with one another. There's that famous picture of them smoking weed in the bushes at some award show, actually. I wonder if he'll weigh in on this case. He's been vindicated on at least one of the claimants. She's saying that a different claimant encouraged her to lie. Are we going to find out that the other claimants were tainted similarly? That wouldn't surprise me in the least, and in the end it'll all fall flat. Evan Rachel Wood will then pull an Amber Heard and go on a Crimea River tour to the legacy media saying it was real in my mind, or it actually did happen, but we couldn't prove it in the end, and I don't understand. He's such a misogynist. Why is he countersuing me for defamation? And he probably should. And I think he already is, actually, so good luck to him. You're fighting an uphill battle in the Me Too era, but good luck. Don't expect much sympathy, though, from other content creators, because you dress the wrong way. And you sing the wrong lyrics, and so you are beyond being defensible to a lot of people out there. But not Stick, Sex, and Hammer. I like to have principles, and I figured that this is exactly what would happen again. If you watch my first video take, I did predict that this is how it would end. And I don't expect that it's ended yet. That's about all. Peace out.